Welcome to Faith Break, finding God moments in your everyday. Each week on Faith Break, hosts Karen Luke and Ann Gallagher bring spiritual refreshment to your daily life. In the month of November, the Church remembers our loved ones who have gone before us in faith and who are still connected to us in the communion of saints. This week, Karen and Ann reflect on personal losses and how the rituals of faith and community help us move through grief to gratitude.
Hi, welcome to Faith Break. I'm Karen Luke.
And I'm Ann Gallagher.
And we are ministers in the church, friends, moms, wives, everything, all in one, all the time.
Yes.
And we are here to talk with you and talk with each other about finding our God moments in the everyday.
We are.
And this season of our podcast, we are in the season of ...
So all the seasons of life we're going to talk about in season 2 of Faith Break. And today we are in the month of November still, which is kind of Remembrance Month for Catholics. We have in our faith communities several ways that we honor people who have lost loved ones in the last year, and just remember all of our loved ones who have gone before us in the faith. So our theme for this week is the season of remembrance, and we're going to be spending a little bit of time talking about our loved ones who are part of the communion of saints now.
Yep. And also how losing them brought us closer into our faith.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touched base with that a little bit last episode. But the rituals and the traditions that we have in the Catholic faith and how that helps us move into that grieving process and
the church has a lot of wisdom in our rituals around grieving and remembering that I think really help us to move through the process in a way that's intentional and mindful and communal, so that nobody's doing it alone, or no one has to do it alone.
Exactly.
Right?
So we're going to begin with our God moment.
Yes.
Do you want to start us off today?
I can start, yeah. My God moment is very basic this week because we had a crazy summer with my mom being in the hospital for so long, and then her death and funeral and everything that came after that. But typically one of the joys of summer for our family is we belong to a CSA, Community Supported Agriculture. So we get a box full of fruits and vegetables every week. And we have a lot of fun, I have a lot of fun figuring out what to do with everything, cooking it, enjoying it. But it kind of got away from me this summer. But just in the last few weeks, we extended it for another 4 weeks they do a fall extension.
Nice.
And the last few weekends I've had time to plan out some really good meals using the bounty that has, come to us in this box. Yeah. And it's just been a really, it's felt nurturing, actual nourishment wise, but it's also felt nourishing because I had time in my home to make things just for my family and not worry about everything else, and just racing through the to-do list and then having time to sit down and eat meals together and all that. So my God moment this last week is my kitchen and my fruit and vegetable box that I got to play with. It's my Play-Doh set or something as an adult. So that was fun.
And I was blessed from that box too, because you gave us some grapes.
Oh yeah, that's right. We don't like those grapes.
Yeah.
Actually, I had them again another week. I forgot. They came around again, and I should have brought them to you. I did. We didn't get to them when I tossed them.
We loved them. So thank you for sharing that God moment, but also thank you for sharing in your bountiful feast. So my God moment, I don't think it was random, right? Because everything is the bigger picture, and we're getting new garage doors, and we haven't been able.
You're adulting when big news in your life is a new garage door.
Finally. And it looks really bad because the whole entire metal frame came off the walls.
Oh,
so
boy.
The door, we cannot open one of them. And then it's completely open at the top. It's caved in. So I live in 315, and it was Yeah, I'm that house of a
315
cul-de-sac. Yeah. So we haven't been able to park our cars in our garage in probably about 10, 11 years. And I was like, all right, this is going to be a good time to purge.
Yeah.
So we got a dumpster and I got everything, well, not everything, but most of the stuff that I needed to out of the garage. And I was like, okay, well, we got to make use of this. So we went in our crawl space, which I hate our crawl space. And my mom came over and helped. And then finally I was like, Jeremy, we have to go down together and get the rest of the stuff done. So trust me, just follow me. There is a God moment in here.
Inside the crawl space.
Inside the crawl space. So we're sitting in the crawl space. We have like 2 garbage bags next to us. And Jer pops one of the Tupperware bins up and I pop mine up. And we both look in and we're like, and he found his like little league picture of like when he was around Connor's age and Connor wants to start playing baseball. So it was like, oh, that's cute. But my God moment was I found a stack of letters from my grandparents, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and some friends from like when I went on retreats.
Retreat letters.
And you know, it was so funny because we were talking about Anne has decided to write out her notes this year. And Jeff goes, you know, we're the last generation that knows cursive.
Yep.
And I literally cried when I knew exactly which one was my grandma and which one was my grandpa's letter because of their handwriting.
Yes.
And I just started bawling and Jared's like, what? Did you find a mouse? And I'm like, no, I found my letters. Like, and it was like just before Halloween and All Saints Day and All Souls. And I was like, oh, thank you. It was
Everybody's here. Everybody's still with me.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
So that was my God. And I don't even know the last time I looked in that bin.
It's
It's
awesome.
been years.
That's awesome.
So
finding your memory bin and
yeah,
actually
that
going
was
through
my
it.
God moment was just recollecting. And I haven't read them yet.
Are you going to like space them out and like
I think
cherish
so.
them one by one?
Yeah, I think so.
I
I'm
love
just,
Well, yeah, I've had similar moments recently because we're going through my mom's house and getting everything ready to sell and going through all the family pictures. And it's like, it can be hard to do that, but it's so beautiful to do that too. Like we found a book that we think is like a goodbye book that like some distant relation who came over from Ireland, like everybody in Ireland wrote in this book. Yeah, like 150 years ago, like said their goodbyes, and then they took the book with them when they came to America, and it has all these notes from like family back home in Ireland. Isn't that neat? I mean, like just, and then we found pictures of like people nobody recognizes. People nobody recognizes, and they're like, I don't know. So those I tossed.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this, the scripture we think about when we are trying to imagine what the communion of saints is like from Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us, see, this is why I should have read it from the actual book. Let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us and persevere in running the race that is before us while keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. Like, because we're surrounded by everybody who has gone before us, like in our cheering section, right?
Yeah.
As we run this race in this crazy season of our lives right now. I don't know. I find just a lot of real comfort in that, and it's cool to think about how we're still connected to everybody who's gone before us, whether they're here with us still on earth or in heaven.
Yeah. So I didn't have to. I led Children's Liturgy at St. Catherine's on All Saints, All Souls.
You got to lead it.
Yes, I got to lead it. And I am so blessed that I did because we were talking about the heaven and Lazarus and all of that. Yeah. And so one of the questions I asked the kids, I was like, what does heaven look like to you? And it was is the word cacophony?
Yeah.
Okay. They all had their own. I mean, we had like pink castles with purple windows. We had pools. We had lakes. And I'm like, dude,
Sign me up.
If this is what it is, then heck yeah. And But then they asked me, they're like, now, who meets us? And I was like, you know what? I don't know. I hope that it would be all of our family. And one little girl goes, how will they know when it's time to come meet us?
Wow.
And I was
Man,
like, this
kids
is
just
7 years old, right?
ask the best
and I'm
questions.
like, dude, they're going to know. And they're just going to get everybody. I said, I don't think God is going to make us wander around and try to find everybody ourselves. I bet you everyone's going to be there ready for us. And they were just like so excited. It's going to be fluffy white clouds. We're going to be walking on fluffy white clouds. And it was just like, it was the cutest thing. And it's just so refreshing because at the stage that we're at and our parents and grandparents, like I was fortunate that my grandparents, I was 24 and 25 and I kind of lost all my grandparents within
in a window.
And then a little later on, fortunately my my grandfather was able to see my kids.
Yeah.
But and I think now, like, there's some people that never knew their grandparents, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
that's I love thinking about people coming to meet you when it's your time to go.
Yeah.
'Cause we just, we walked my mother through her death recently, and she was, I don't want to get into all the details of it, but so she was in a car accident in the summer and was in the hospital and then in rehab and then got an infection and ended up back in the ER in the hospital and finally in hospice over the course of 2 months between when the accident happened and when she died. And so we were the way that this grieving journey went for us, for me and Brian and my sister and our kids, was we kept thinking she was going to get better. And we were focused on what do we need to do to get her better? Because we were in the meantime setting up a new independent living apartment for her to move into, which had always been the plan before the accident. And so we had 2 months of just an up and down roller coaster, trying to build her up and then realizing that dream was not going to be realized, right? Yeah. And the home she was going to was not the apartment. It was her eternal home. Yeah. And, but it was just such a gift. Once we actually were in the hospice wing in the hospital, and as people came to say their goodbyes to her, oh my God, the grace of seeing all of those, talk about the communion of saints. We looked around and it was the communion of saints on earth that had surrounded her, and they all came. She had so many friends and family and people who came. And I mean, I could just go on and on about all of the graced moments that we got to witness during that week. She was, that she was actively dying. And, but at the same time, it's exhausting to be in that place. Right, and so my sister and I were especially my sister and I were being you can go now, Mom. Every night we said goodbye for what we thought was the last time. And every morning we were glad to see her again, but we were also just how long is this going to, how long can we do this? But we were talking with her about if you see Grandma and Grandpa, if you see Sue was my aunt who died, who was not biologically related to my mom. She's from the other side of the family, but they were sisters of the heart. And I don't know, man. It's just amazing. The web of relationships that extends through our families and through our church communities and across generations and across heaven and earth, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just so graced.
Yeah. And I thinking about our family with my grandparents, to my grandma and both of my grandmas actually were in hospice, and just two different families. It was my dad's mom and my mom's mom. But all of my cousins, we were bringing work before it was work from home. We were bringing work and just sitting in the community area, talking and doing our work and chatting. And we always say, why don't we get together when it's not a death.
Right.
Because we have so much, there's just so much history and memories and everything. But you can always find joy in the craziness of death. And my grandma's name was Eugenia.
That's a mouthful.
Okay? It is a mouthful. But it was always Grandma Jean. Okay. And it was Grandma Jean, Jeanne, but Eugene was spelled with a G.
Got it.
Okay, so we never knew. Like, we were older when we figured out that she was Eugenia. So we're all in the room, and my uncle said, "Okay, let's pray. Let's say a prayer with Eugenia." And my cousin whips his head around and goes, "Eugenia? Who the hell is that?" And his brothers are like slapping him upside the head. It's like, Grandma. And he's like, "My whole life is a lie. I never knew her name was Eugenia." And I'm like, we all are looking at him like, this is not about you right now. Like, let's draw back. But it is in those stories of the remembrance and who was Grandma before she was Grandma.
Yes, right.
Like,
it was so cool to see. I think I mentioned last week when we talked, like, my aunts and uncles came out in like a huge way that I wasn't expecting. My mom's one of 5. My dad's one of 6. And my parents are divorced long ago, and that's a whole nother story. But like, anyway, my mom's sisters came 3 weeks before her death because we had asked them to come to kick her butt into shape so that she would do her hard work in rehab and be ready for the apartment. We're like, when school starts, we need you guys to come in and like take the reins and like do that. And they stayed in the apartment that we had set up for her.
They are the sweetest aunts too.
I know, they're like this big, and there's 2 of them, and but like they were here for the entire journey, and like since my grandmother died, which is probably 3 years ago now, and then so before that we had the pandemic and didn't see them for a while. Like, we just haven't seen the New York branch of the family as much because they're down in New York, and we don't have Grandma's house anymore.
We live in New York too.
They're downstate. They're in Westchester. But like part of a blessing that has come out of my mom's death is I feel like our relationship to our extended family has been renewed. Yeah. Like when Bridget had her birthday last week, my aunts called her. Oh. And they sang to her just the same way my mom would always sing, because it was like they knew she wasn't going to get a call from her grandma on her birthday for the first time. And so they called, and it was just like, we were like, we love you, we miss you. I mean, it was just, Bridget was got so close to them in the time that they were here. And, I mean, families, when hard things happen, just can come together like that. I don't know, man. It's just like, I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
But like the grieving, I don't want to minimize, because I know that people are listening to this episode who maybe are dealing with a loss or are missing a loved one. I mean, I think in this month of November, we have a lot of, both at St. Catherine's and Transfig, we have remembrance masses that are a way to kind of honor those who've died and to give us, I think that rituals like funerals and the remembrance mass, and we have a remembrance book at Transfig. I don't know if there's one at St. Catherine's too, but like things like this, and like the idea of having calling hours, even like, and a viewing of the body, like they're containers in which we can put our grief, right? So that the emotions have a place to be that isn't
scattered.
I mean, your grief is going to explode all over your life anyway, but just to have a structure is very comforting and healing, and it brings others into the process in a way that is hopefully more helpful than hurtful. I don't know. Yeah. Think about how we do funerals and that kind of thing.
I think, and this isn't like a morbid thought, but the incensing.
Oh, I was just going to think. You go.
The incensing of the casket or of the ashes is, I don't even want to say it's my favorite part of, I don't think I can use the phrase favorite part with the funeral mass, but
it's one of the most meaningful parts.
It's one of the most meaningful parts. Like, I just, and watching any priest incense and the time that they take, and it is not a rushed.
No.
It is just.
But I mean,
this,
Rob is so
Rob,
beautiful when
there
he
is
does
something
this.
about and
He
I
does
even
it
told
with
him
such love.
yes, his compassion, and I mean he has the pastoral connection of funerals, and it's just the taking of the time and the music with it, and it's. I never feel like, okay, let's go.
Right.
And it's just, just letting the incense rise and seeing it in the church. Just is like the symbol of them just going and being with God. And it's quiet. It's meditative. There's nothing that I have to do except just be present.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful rite in our liturgy that we have for funerals.
People respond differently to grief too, and to the processes the spiritual and the traditions we have around grief. Like, I mean, when we went from, my mother died on a Monday, and we had some family in town from out of town. My sister had been here for weeks and had to go home to her house, which is in another state. And my mom wanted a green burial. So we knew it had to be a quick process but like she died on a Monday. We had the wake on Wednesday and the funeral was on Thursday. And it felt fast to a lot of people. And those 48 hours after she died, when we were already meeting with the team at church and the funeral home and figuring out how to do a luncheon for our family before they all got back on the road. And like, it's just a flurry of activity, right? And being who I am, working for the church, I had a lot of ideas of what I wanted, like the music. And Sue came to the music was so perfect. And, but we felt like it was our last gift to my mom to create, her, the funeral and then the family gathering that she would have wanted. So it gave us tasks to do that while they were like, busy to do and hectic to get done, we felt like they were meaningful. But they also kept me from, like, I didn't grieve during those days. I was too busy to grieve during those days. And even during the actual funeral, like, I gave a talk and I was singing, and it felt so good to be singing, right? Like, I couldn't have sung by myself, but singing with others was like, I don't know. It was awesome. But Bridget, oh my gosh, for the entire
she broke my heart.
And she was, at the calling hours, she sat right by my mom's casket the entire time. Yeah. And other people came around her, but she was there the entire time. And then she just kind of like, after the incensing, she just like, she threw herself on my mom's casket because for her, I mean, she's a teenage girl and a theater kid, and she is going to, and I'm proud of her for this. She is going to express her emotions out here, and that good for her, man. Like, right? Like, that's why we have these things. But not everybody is that, and Liam, very private with the emotions. And, that's going to be it's going to look totally different for Liam than it does for Bridget. Yeah. And even with me and my sister, I mean, she'll text me. She's like, I'm crying myself to sleep every night. And I'm like, oh, am I doing this wrong? Like, am I doing it wrong? But I think I did a lot of grieving early when we were making the decisions about her end of life care. So, because there was a lot of crying in the hospice room, and there was also a lot of laughter, like you said. I mean, I had one set of aunt and uncles who just came in and told jokes the whole time, and Mom loved that, right? Like, it's just everybody is going to be doing this in their own way, and each death, each loss you face is going to hit differently, and it's each one is going to bring up all the previous ones you've ever had too, right?
So Emma, you may not know, but Emma's in confirmation. Yes. And it was really cute. My dad's cousin Kathleen was in from Washington State. And I was like, Emma, we got to work on our confirmation session before we go to confirmation. She's like, okay. So Kathleen and my mom sat at the table with us as we were like going through the readings and the videos and all of this. And Kathleen goes, isn't it All Saints Day? And I was like, it is. And she's like, and so we just got talking about it. And I was like, well, we're saints on earth. And she's like, wait, what?
Saints in training.
And I'm like, yeah, by our baptism, we're saints. And it was just like, it was so cool. Like usually it's like, oh, Karen's the church lady. Give her all the rosaries.
She's got to say grace at Thanksgiving.
Yep, she's got to say grace. She'll say grace at the wedding. She'll be at the planning of the funerals. But this was just like a fun conversation.
Awesome.
And Kathleen's like, wow, I'm a saint. I was like, well, yeah, you are. And the funny thing about Kathleen is she's got 4 boys. Or 4 boys. 4 boys. Matthew, Mark, and John. 3 boys.
She needs one more.
Matthew, Mark, and John. And we always laugh about it. And I was like, yeah, well, you're a saint because you got Matthew.
There you go.
Mark, and John.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I just love the remembrance of things, and I don't know.
Do you have any moments in your life when you have felt particularly close to like someone who you've lost? Like, those moments like where maybe not in like a ghostly way or anything, like but just like in a small moment. Something like hits you, reminds you of someone who's passed, or you just have those like feelings of connection.
Yes. My grandpa, he would always touch his hand to his chest during the consecration. Yeah. And so it's the weirdest thing because sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. And I'll just do it. I was like, oh, okay. Hey, Grandpa. Like or I'll see another older person doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
remember him.
I remember, or it's just, like I said, I'm very fortunate. I had 25-ish years
with all 4 grandparents.
Before one of them had passed. So, and, I've talked about it before. We had Sunday brunch with one set, Sunday dinner with another set. So like I grew up in a half of a house with my grandparents with the door that connected.
Yeah,
so like I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd go to my grandparents' bed. I wouldn't even go to my parents.
Oh,
so
that's such a great story. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. So it was like
Are those your mom's parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And and it was so funny because my mom would call me and I wouldn't answer. And she'd be, and then of course she felt like she had a knock into her parents' house. She's like, is Karen here? Yeah, she's in bed. And although I don't remember that, the story has been told to me.
Yes.
But I hold it because I could totally see myself doing that. So it's just,
That's so funny. We have that in common. Well, we didn't live in a house, but we had my mother's mother and her 2 sisters in New York live all on the same side of the street. 3 houses that are like within 6 houses of each other.
That would be so fun.
So yeah, like when I was growing up, it was like when we would go visit them, we would stay with grandma, but we had all the aunts and all the cousins and like everybody all on one street.
I love that.
And when we were growing up, we lived 4 doors down from my Uncle Tom, my Aunt Sue, and my cousin Kate and my cousin Tommy. So we would always like every day.
Yeah.
It's like Sue babysat for us until she went back to work. And then I was old enough to babysit for everybody. But they're more like, those cousins are more like siblings.
Yeah.
And but that gift of the extended family and stuff is so awesome.
Yeah. And now it's fun to see it with my kids. Mm-hmm. Like Emma and Connor just texting my parents or Jeremy's parents randomly, be like, hey, I got, whatever. Or the other day, I'll tell a quick weird story, but the other day Connor was he wasn't having it being home. He just didn't want to be home. And so he's like, I'm calling grandma. And I'm like,
I'm going to blow this popsicle stand.
okay, what are you going to say? He's like, I don't want to be here. I want to be at grandma's.
That's awesome.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm not bringing you. So, because it was during the Bills game. I'm like, why would I leave during the Bills game? But it was so sweet. Like, my mother-in-law came over, picked him up during halftime, and he just hung out with her
great,
and and my father-in-law and then now with my niece and nephew, and they have their son and my great nephew, and it's just I grew up babysitting for my cousin's kids.
Right, because you're so much younger.
Because I'm much younger than
on one side.
On that one side. So it's just family has always been a connection for me, and I wanted to make sure that my kids had that. Too. Yeah.
I was thinking in preparing for this episode of like all the people that I've lost, and I was like, I've lost my grandparents, and now I've lost my mother, and I lost my best friend growing up, Heidi. She had brain cancer, and she died about we're coming up on 2 years. I've lost a couple of teens from the youth group, and I was thinking about Bishop Clark too, which is more of like a mentor to me. And my Aunt Sue, who is, she had breast cancer and died I can't believe it's been 9 years ago, but I live in her house. We bought our home.
I always love this story.
We bought our house from my Uncle Tom and Aunt Sue, the ones who lived down the street from us growing up, just after her death. And even though Tom and Sue only lived in this house for 2 years, it's definitely much more like our house now because we've been there for so long. But she painted all the walls in my house except for the bedrooms, right? And it's just I feel like I physically live inside the legacy of all of these loved ones who have gone before me. And
your house is the house that everyone gathers at.
Yes. Right? Well, so we're supposed to host Thanksgiving, but so many people are coming in that we're actually going to do it at my cousin's house because she has, I'm like 20, it's going to be like 25 people. And it's a great house, but it is a small house. Yeah. And even if we put all the teenagers in the basement, which doesn't really feel right for Thanksgiving. So we're going to do
gratitude for the next future. Now go down to the basement.
Brian and I are still going to make 2 turkeys. We're going to make 2 turkeys and we're going to bring them over to Kate's house. And so that's awesome. But it's cool. It's going to be a big Thanksgiving, which will be nice because it's the first one without Mom. But we're going to have, all of the extended family, lots and lots of extended family here. Yeah. Do you have anything else that's helped you when you've lost someone to be, I don't know, a process of your own? I letting go or holding them close still or just grieving?
I think one of the things is I just can't fathom not having the church rituals or the church community I can't imagine not having them in my grieving process.
How do people do this without the support of a church?
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, if you can do it, that's great. But for me, all of the times that I have lost somebody, my grandparents, my cousin Alex, Jeremy's grandparents, I mean, it was just, I can't imagine not having the staff, my coworkers, my friends, family, assisting in that and just helping me. Because like you were saying, you felt like you were kind of grieving during it.
Yeah.
But people were helping you.
People were giving me, the church community.
Let's go this way.
Meals, dropping meals off, covering for me at meetings at work when I couldn't show up. And I'm sure people have
that within their own community and it looks different. But I never once felt like I questioned why this was happening.
Yeah.
And I know others in my family did.
Sure.
Because it all looks different.
Yeah.
But because of my foundation with my grandparents, so my dad's dad converted for
Okay.
my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
But they were all Catholic, and they went to 2 different churches. It was just I used to go to church with them, and
Yeah.
you know, and we all fall away at some point. And I think I'm probably the only one that. Well, I know I'm definitely the only one on one side of the family that's still
Practicing.
practicing and things like that. But I just can't. I'm very blessed that I had my faith to pull me in, and so I think that's one thing. And
We had a couple of things that I think have helped me in marking grieving, as I move through it. I had another one of my cousins, Kevin, sent me like a playlist of songs after the day, week of my mom's funeral. And I combined them with Bridget had a playlist of songs she had made, and my sister has sent me a couple of songs, and then I put those all together with a bunch of songs that we used at the funeral, and just that are meaningful to me as like grieving songs. So I have like a grief playlist, or it's like a remembrance playlist maybe, and I'll just put that on and when I go for my walks and listen to it. And then sometimes there are objects too that I feel like just remind us of people. Like we have, this is going to sound crazy, and I don't know if I've shared this story. I might have shared this story in the podcast before, but little rubber ducks.
yes, I think so.
So we spoke before about how Bridget at our funeral, my mom's funeral, was just like, she was so emotional and she just lost it. And in the moment where she was just crying and crying, my friend Heidi's big sister came over, Marnie, and she had a little rubber duck, a little plastic squeaky duck, and she handed it to Bridget, and I just started laughing. And because at Heidi's funeral, Heidi's brain cancer changed her personality in the last year of her life in a way that was sort of magnificent, really. Like she was someone who struggled with anxiety, but it all fell away, and she lived her last life like it was. I mean, she just said yes to everything. Her attitude was it was a little manic at times, but it was just like, it was like her best energy she ever spent in her life. And she knew her funeral was coming up, and she was like, I want everyone to have a baby duckling, because you can't be sad if you're holding a baby duckling. She wanted real ducklings, and her family had to be like, how about these from Oriental Trading Company? And because of the brain cancer. And so at her funeral, they handed out all these ducklings. So for Marnie to come, it's the layers of relationship again, right? And when her mom came to visit my mom in hospice, oh my gosh, it was like, because I mean, there's so many, I could talk forever. I mean, my mom drove up Heidi and I to school every morning all through high school. And her mom would pick Liam up when he was an infant. We've talked about how Liam never slept. And she would come get Liam every one morning a week, and she would just hold Liam so I could sleep when he was a newborn. And so when she was saying goodbye to my mom and I was just hugging her, she's like, "You're my other daughter." And I'm like, "You're my other mom." And anyway, the long and the short of this is Mom and Heidi are in the same plot of land. They're like 20 feet from each other. Because it was when my mom saw how Heidi handled her death that she said she wanted the green funeral, and she wanted. So now we can go visit them, and they're in the same place. And Nancy's going to plant flowers on my mom's grave like she does for Heidi. And I just think I never thought I was going to be a graveyard person, because I've never really done that before, but like Bridget wanted to go see Mom like the week or two after her death, and then I realized I know like 3 other people in that funeral, in that cemetery. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go pay these guys a visit too, right? Yeah. And it's just it's nice to have those anchors and those objects and those relationships that we know are going to continue and that hold us together as we're grieving, and and I think can even like blossom in new ways after a loss. I got some scripture passages.
Okay, let's do it.
So here's Psalm 34:19. God is close to the brokenhearted and saves those whose spirits are crushed. We also have Matthew 5:4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That's interesting. I do when you're in mourning, it does give you the opportunity to let other people comfort you.
Yeah.
That's cool. I had never really thought about that beatitude that way. And Revelation 21:4, God will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or mourning, for the old has passed away. And God says, see, I make all things new. The hope of heaven.
All things
How's
new.
that?
I love that. Mm-hmm. Going into fall, winter.
Yeah, this is the
spring.
Remembrance season. I mean, there's just something too about like the way the trees are and the way the sky is, the way just the natural world is in this time of we're really heading into winter. I think it brings up, a lot of the winters of our life and, just the whole idea of letting go. So,
well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for
listening,
sticking with us for this difficult one.
Feel free to come up and share any of your joys and remembrances of family before you or friends and your earthly saints that are now saints in heaven. Thank you, and we'll see you on our next show.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for taking a faith break with us today. Karen Luke and Ann Gallagher are lay ministers with the parishes of St. Catherine of Siena in Mendon, New York, and Church of the Transfiguration in Pittsford, New York. More about our parishes, including weekly live-streamed Sunday Mass, can be found at stcath.org or transfigurationpittsford.org. Engineering today is by Jeff Beckett. Join us for new episodes of Faith Break each week in studio on YouTube or on your favorite audio podcast or music app.